Everyone thought he was a lonely loser, but he becomes the strongest demon hunter after forging a pact with a demon girl and makes her his wife. Shu is a pathetic broke-ass man who lives in a society plagued by creatures known as demon hazards. When he was young, his entire family was massacred by a demon from the hood, and the government covered it up as an accident to prevent panic among the people. After that, he decides to become a demon hunter. But he fights like the Avengers without a care for the destruction, which is why all the money is always deducted from his account, and he stays broke. One day, he goes to a restaurant and meets one of his friends named Ayano, who he has probably banged before. She treats him to lunch, as he doesn't have any money, and asks him to get a real job, which reminds me of my girlfriend. But he quickly changes the topic. Just like I do, he gets out of the restaurant and moves back towards his house, where he is greeted by the beautiful Kisara, a very strong demon hazard, who is connected to him through a contract they have forged. She has set up a candlelight dinner for him, because his broke ass hasn't paid the electricity bill yet. After having dinner, Kisara blue balls him, as he doesn't have a job yet, and this motivates him to get a gig soon. The next day, he logs in a program and is transported to a meeting being attended by several other people like Fatty Loli and the Baldy. These people belong to different companies that deal with demonic hazards for money, basically making them demon pimps. The auctioneer shows them footage of a Class C demon and asks them to bid on it. The company that is willing to take the job of killing this demon for the least amount of money gets the job. Shu ends up winning the auction, as he undercuts every other company by more than 50% and gets the job, pissing everyone else off. After that, he goes back and contacts the company which is owned by Ayano's mother and asks her for backup, to which she agrees, but at a very high price. He meets Ayano near the hotel where the demon is, and they go inside with a couple of soldiers. But as soon as they approach the door, the demon blows it apart completely. They quickly take cover, and Shu peeks in to see that the demon has summoned a ton of minions, which reminds me of the guys revolving around my girlfriend. They go inside and start killing the minions first, and after they are all killed, he tells Ayano to provide distraction and cover, while he sneaks up beside him and shoots him in the back. Unsurprisingly, the demon doesn't die and it punches him away. The demon turns around and shoots its arm towards him to finish him off, but just like a Jewish doctor, Kisara snips it off immediately, saving Shu's life. The demon summons more of his minions, which she dispatches very easily, and then she runs towards the demon, attacking him with her sword, but is unable to hit him and is blasted away. She falls near Shu and tells him that she hasn't worked in the past 3 months and has no power left. It turns out that according to the pact, which is probably created by an incel like you, Kisara's real powers can only be revealed by a kiss, so Shu kisses her, and immediately she transforms into an overpowered fighter. The demon summons more of his minions, but this time she has absolutely no trouble killing them, one after the other. While fighting the minions, she and Ayano come back together. Ayano ends up calling her a skank for kissing Shu, and after a bit of argument, it escalates to a physical fight. She tries to slash Ayano, who dodges the attack and shoots her back, but Kisara dodges the bullet as well. After that, they start attacking each other fiercely, which forces Shu to stop these bimbos from killing each other. This in turn makes Kisara angry towards Shu, as she thinks Shu likes Ayano's giant more, and she starts attacking Shu. She attacks him again and again, and he keeps dodging, and in the end, to prevent her from staying angry, he gives her his apartment's key, which does the trick and makes the gold digger happy. She turns her attention towards the demon again, and charges towards it, killing every single minion along the way. They both attack in tandem, with Ayano landing the first slash with her sword, and Shu finishing the demon off with his gun. The next morning, Shu wakes up to have his breakfast, and notices that it's basic bullshit that Kisara has cooked for him. He looks over and finds her working on a laptop and asks her what she is doing. She replies that she is trying to manage their finances by starting an OnlyFans page, as thanks to his dumbass, they have lost all of the money they earned because of the collateral damage, making them completely broke once again. She tells him that from now on, he will click pictures of her and her feet, so she can post them on Feed Finder and earn some money, while he sits there like a cuck. doing absolutely nothing. After saying this, Kisara moves out of the house to find any kind of part-time jobs for foot modeling. When at the train station, she meets up with a bunch of her friends, who make fun of Shu for not earning any money. But she tells them that he is her photographer and will help her grow famous, just like any other in thought. Suddenly a blonde asshole named Mikhail walks up to them, who is the president of the student council, as well as the son of the mayor. He also seems to be a massive simp for Kisara, and invites her to the mayor's party in the town hall that evening. But Kisara leaves without saying another word, as she doesn't talk to beta simps. Shu, on the other hand, goes off to find Ayano at the gym, where she is working out, unlike my ex, who looked like a koala. He keeps pestering her, asking her to give him a job or talk to someone at the company, as her MILF mother is the president of the company. But she tells him that his style of demon slaying is way too destructive, and he always causes a bad name for the company. He begs her to give him a chance, promising not to stalk her anymore, and she finally ends up trying to call her mom to find a job for him, because she still has some feelings. But as soon as she picks up her phone, she notices a post by Kisara, in which she is posing with him for her fansly, which enrages Ayano, and she tells him to piss off. That evening, however, the secretary of the mayor comes up to Ayano's mom, and tells her that they suspect there might be an assassination attempt on the mayor, and it could be from a demon, so they want a team from her company on standby in case anything happens. She seems reluctant to take the job as she only supports our Lord and Savior Trump, but agrees anyway, and sends Shu and Kisara alongside Ayano and her team to deal with the situation. Shu stands guard near a hallway, where he is approached by Miles the Baldy, who took care of him after his parents' death. They start talking about demons, and while Miles gives him a big black cigarette and tells him to come back and visit the hood once to have dinner, as the gang misses him. But Shu wants nothing but cancer, and asks him for some more cigarettes. Kiara, on the other hand, is inside the party, and is extremely happy to see so much food in front of her. She takes out a small Tupperware from her ass, and thinks about saving some food to take back home. But suddenly Mikhail approaches her, and starts talking to her about how he donates a lot of money on her streams and other bullshit. Thankfully, however, the mayor starts speaking, and they all stand, and as the speech is broadcasted in the entire city, he talks about the basic bullshit that every corrupt politician talks about, like equality, jobs, better quality of life, and also claims that there are more than 2 genders, which kind of pisses Shu off, who, like any sane man, knows that there are only real genders. Turns out that a demon is also extremely angry at this mayor for legalizing all the bullshit pronouns, so he decides to kill him live on TV, so that everyone in the city will know that he identifies as a Sigma male. Usually when a person transforms into a demon, they lose their humanity, but this demon seems to retain his humanity, and is able to think and talk like a normal person. He phases through a wall behind the mayor, and was about to stab him in the ass, when Kisara notices the disturbance, and quickly jumps on him, grabbing him in a choke hold, which people would pay good money for. The demon is shocked at her surprising speed, as she pulls him behind, and throws him against a pillar where he is attacked by Ayano and her team. She tells his team to seal the venue, as the demon tries to run away, and she starts running after him. Her dress gets caught, so she shoots her dress in half, like a total girl boss, and proceeds to run after him with a speed boost, while the demon phases through walls. Kisara phases through the wall as well, and appears before him, but the demon dodges her attack, and blocks the bullets that were shot at him, before phasing through the floor. Fortunately, Ayano is already present on the floor below, and shoots him in the head twice. The demon falls down, but again gets up, and phases through the wall, before emerging behind her for an attack, only to be stopped by Kisara, who kicks him away. Ayano runs and points a gun at him, but the demon starts talking again, telling her that they need to show the city how the mayor is actually a degenerate furry, which makes Ayano stop, realizing that this one still retains his humanity. Taking advantage of the momentary distraction, the demon quickly phases down again, and Kisara gets mad at Ayano for letting it escape. Shu, the useless loser, finally hears the commotion and slings through a window to attack the demon in one of the server rooms, where Kisara arrives shortly. He and Kisara corner the demon and are about to kill him when he gets a call from Ayano's mom, the company's president. She tells Shu that the demon still possesses a human brain and is to be captured alive at all costs. This is a big problem, as none of them have the weapons required to capture a demon, and they have never done that. They only know how to kill it. Kisara says that she might try to hit the demon with the back of her sword, but that is still dangerous, so Shu goes online and starts looking at lethal weapons on Amazon. But Kisara stops him, telling him that the equipment's costs just as much as they are going to earn from this job. So what's the point? They are bickering amongst themselves when the demon finds an opening and jumps down the building. Shu and Kisara both look out of the window, while Kisara tells Shu that if he buys the gadget he will have to eat only bullshit for the next month. He however looks at her and orders the equipment, telling her that he would take more saucy pictures of her for Instagram. Bezos comes in clutch by sending the super fast delivery, and as soon as the demon reaches the ground, a truck pulls in and hits the demon, knocking it out. Shu descends down, and a strong, independent woman comes out of the truck and gives him the weapon to capture the demon that he doesn't even need now. The demon is put on a stretcher and taken to the hospital, while both Kisara and Shu return back home. The next day, Shu is able to get his hands on some top-secret leaked information about a Class B demon that looks like my ex. In the morning, he meets up with Ayano and tells her that he is going to take the job no matter what, as he really needs some cash money. He goes to the auction and undercuts every single company by a large margin again, which pisses them out so much that they start planning to beat him up. But before the auction could end, the auctioneer stops them and tells them that the current bids have been cancelled because a new objective has presented itself. Apparently, the caterpillar demon has eaten a radioactive core, which is supposed to power the entire city for a week, so they have to retrieve the core before destroying the demon. Shu persists and tells him that it doesn't matter. He still wants to do it for the same money, even after the new condition, surprising everyone, as someone needs to be completely broke in order to take a job like this. Later that day, they arrive at the location, and Ayano goes with her team to try to capture the demon safely. But before they can do anything, the caterpillar finally changes into a massive demon moth, which reminds me of my ex with makeup. The demon destroys all of the flying drones before targeting the ground units, destroying them one by one. Ayano starts running away in her car, but is attacked again, while Shu watches all this like a loser from a distance. Finally, Kisara arrives behind him, and he immediately kisses her, giving her the power she needs. By that time, the demon has targeted Ayano, and just before a giant boulder could fall on her, Kisara arrives, slashing the boulder to pieces, just like my heart. She then flies towards the demon, dodging its attacks and stabs it in the ass, forcing the demon to back off. The ugly moth then shoots energy rays at her, which she dodges effortlessly, and attacks again and again before stabbing and slashing at the demon's body, weakening its outer armored shell. Shu takes advantage of this and takes out his sniper rifle. Before shooting the demon straight at its exposed part, it pushes the demon back, and as a last-ditch effort to save its life, the demon tries to shoot a massive energy ray. But Shu loads another bullet and shoots the demon at the exact same point, killing it instantly. The very next day, Ayano is called into the shipyard because of a fight between two opposing mafia groups. One of them apparently decided to make a contract and became a demon, killing the members of the enemy gang ruthlessly. She goes inside the empty shed and finds a bunch of guys massacred on the ground, and a bunch of them severely wounded. She walks ahead and suddenly sees a shiny reflection of a gun barrel before the demon hazard starts firing at them. She takes cover and orders one of the guys tries to shoot him with his sniper rifle, while another guy uses his rocket launcher to bombard the demon, taking it down like a true American. The police rush in afterwards, and they capture all of the surviving wounded mafia members, while Miles the Baldy, who works in the department, tells them that they were lucky to be alive, as the demon was thankfully not a very high-ranking one, so was killed easily. All of the gang members are put in ambulances. She looks around to see a young guy being put in the ambulance, while his girlfriend cries like a from the crowd, begging them to let her be with him. But the police hold her away. Shu, on the other hand, is sitting alongside Kisara, having a candlelight dinner because his area has no electricity, thanks to the fact that his useless ass failed to obtain the core from the demon. Thankfully, at least they have some good food, as they defeated the demon basically by themselves, and can spend a little more money. They have dinner together, and the next day when they are about to go out, Shu tells Kisara that today they are going to have a luxurious dinner on the expensive side of the city, to celebrate her getting 10,000 followers on Feet Finder. However, a car pulls over, and Mikhail, the beta simp piece of shit, comes out of it, who is here to meet with Kisara and try to win her over with his money and luxury. But Kisara is the best girl, and remains faithful unlike your ex-girlfriend, and tells Mikhail to piss off. Mikhail gets mad and starts shit-talking Shu, who pays him no attention. While Kisara notices Ayano going alongside a guy dressed in black, she decides to stalk them like a creep, and reaches a park, where she finds them talking to each other. She decides to use this opportunity to make Ayano look like a total thought, and clicks their pictures before posting it on Instagram. Shu notices the notification, and immediately runs over to the park, apologizing to them both for what Kisara did. The man greets him and introduces himself as an investigator from the Anti-Demon Bureau, who is working on a case between the mafias that Ayano is involved in, and he also ends up telling him that he is working to find out about the demon who killed Shu's family, as Ayano requested him to investigate about it. This enraged Shu, who blows Ayano off, telling her that she should have consulted and involved him in this decision about trying to find his parents' killer. While he was going on with one of his emo rants, the investigator gets a call from the police department, who informed them that Tony, the young guy whose girlfriend they saw crying like a bitch, was just murdered inside of the hospital. Shu immediately goes over to the hospital and meets with Miles, who reports that by the time he found him, Tony was already dead, and the killer was nowhere to be found. The investigator asks him whether this could be the work of a demon hazard, but Miles responds by saying that it is highly unlikely, because the weapon used to kill him was just a plain knife, with the logo of the enemy mafia gang on it. He also reports that the attack was pretty bold, and done in broad daylight, which was recorded in the cameras as well. Meanwhile, by the time evening comes, Shu waits for Ayano outside her hotel, where he calls her and apologizes for making a big scene in the park. He tells her that he believes that the demon that tried to kill the mayor might be connected with one of the gangs, and tries to get more information from her. But she shuts him down and tells him to go back to his house. He tells her that it will be more efficient if they work together, but she tells him to piss off. He never thinks about what someone else feels, about how he does things, and how someone feels when he puts his life in danger. She makes him recall the day, a couple of years ago, when they were dating each other. She was waiting for him to come back home, while he was off chasing a demon hazard all night long. However, he looks completely blank, and reveals that he doesn't remember anything. This tips her over the edge, as she runs away crying. On the other end, the investigator is called to a crime scene, where the members of the gang who killed Tony seem to be having a fight or something. The investigator goes inside to have a look, and notices that everything is slashed open, and a bunch of gang members are dead on the floor with blood everywhere. He quickly runs outside like a bitch, and decides to wait for some back from the specialized demon hunting team. Meanwhile, poor Ayano cries beneath a bridge when she is approached by Kisara, who reveals that she is the one who has all the memories that Shu used to have. She tells him that they have made a contract in which she can feed on Shu's memories whenever she wants, and she has been specifically deleting his memories so that he doesn't fall back in love with Ayano. Ayano gets pissed off by the talk that she has with Kisara, after she realizes that she doesn't care about Shu's actual feelings and only wants to keep him to herself, like some psycho Reddit mod. She gets up and walks off in the darkness, telling her not to talk to her again. Meanwhile, Shu feels troubled and goes ahead to try and get some cancer, while thinking about what Ayano said. Suddenly, however, an arrow pierces a trash can nearby, scaring Shu, who quickly picks up a note on the arrow, which reveals the position of the gang members' headquarters. He quickly grabs a bike and rushes over to the spot, where he finds all the policemen waiting outside. He doesn't stop for anyone, and straight up rushes inside with a gun in his hand, like a brain-dead version of Rambo. Inside the house, he spots a beautiful woman in a red dress, cutting the gang members down with her sword, and as another guy tries to shoot her, she simply dodges and slices his throat. Shu decides to step in and start shooting at her like LAPD, while she simply dodges and runs inside the men's bathroom. Shu follows her and realizes that he is inside a bathroom with mirrors all around him, which will be excellent to click pictures, but makes it harder for him to fight efficiently. The woman suddenly appears behind him, and he starts blasting. While she keeps dodging at an incredible speed, he decides to shoot almost all of the mirrors to reduce the confusion. But by the time he is done, she swiftly escapes outside without anyone noticing. Shu exits the bathroom and sees that the investigator has also come inside to provide some backup. They find a member who isn't dead yet, and they quickly go over to him, asking him whether there are any demon hazards in Tony's gang. The dying man, however, reveals that the demon that just killed them was not a gang member, but Tony's girlfriend. This shocks everyone, as they still thought that this was just some gang warfare, but now it seems to be a personal revenge crafted by Tony's girlfriend. And Shu suddenly realizes that she is going to kill everyone who was linked with the incident that night at the docks, including Ayano. Realizing that Ayano's life is in danger, he sends Kisara to protect her, and she reaches her just in time to save her life. Shu himself rushes to the scene alongside police officers, but only finds a hurt Ayano and a stuck Kisara calling for her step-bro. Later, they are able to figure out that this demon uses mirrors to transport between one place to the other, and that is the reason why it is so quick, and it can easily enter any house to kill anyone. Shu sends Ayano to a safe house and goes to a restaurant with a senior detective named Tetsuya. He requests Shu to collaborate with him and promises to find the demon that killed his family and reveal the truth about demons to the general public. Shu visits Ayano in her safe house, and he reveals that he thinks his younger sister Kana, who is presumed to be dead, might still be alive. This shocks Ayano, as he has never meant to know this to anyone before. Ayano seems to be attracted to losers, and decides to bang him as he acts vulnerable around her. If only life was so easy. Later that night, the demon teleports into the shed, and straight up chops down an IKEA couch, while looking for Ayano. At the same time, Kisara also arrives and starts attacking the demon, engaging into a sword fight with extraordinary speed. Suddenly, she notices Ayano hiding behind a corner, so she rushes up to her, and without any warning headbutts her to the ground. She starts calling Ayano a home-wrecking skank for stroking Shu's pole. Ayano tries to feign ignorance by saying that she would never even touch a loser like Shu, but we all know that these girls only like idiots like Shu. So Kisara tells her to shut her skanky mouth, otherwise she will shove her sword down her throat. Meanwhile, the demon breaks all the glass in the shed, scaring Shu, when he suddenly feels a sword on his back, but realizes it is Kisara who is mad at him. She tells him to give him all of his energy, so she can defeat her, and violently kisses him. After the kiss, Shu lays down there without the memories of tonight. As Kisara charges at the demon fights back, and most of her attacks are blocked. She tries to attack her again, but the demon moves through the ground and attacks her from a different direction. The demon was about to deliver the finishing blow when Shu intervenes and elbows the demon, pushing her back. He tries to punch her, but she moves back and tries to run away by phasing into the wall. But Shu throws his anti-demon projectile at her, which hits her in the stomach, stopping her midway through, and then Kisara charges at her, stabbing her at the same place, killing her once and for all. Kisara runs away from Shu, and it has been several days since she left his place. However, she has not returned there, nor has she made any attempt to contact her. Concerned about her well-being, Shu makes multiple attempts to get in touch with her, but receives no response. After that, he plans an ambush for the informant who has been providing Shu with highly classified information. He travels to a train station and finds a bench there to sit on. When the informant arrived, she gave him instructions to retrieve the tablet from the garbage can. Shu does as he is told, and a video of a blonde girl fighting the police and other demon hunting companies played in the background. The informant made an attempt to flee before Shu could ask any further questions about them. However, despite Shu's best efforts, the informant manages to evade capture. In the later part of that day, he attends an auction meeting, where they talk about this particular person. Ayano's mother reveals to her son that she is a part of an organization in Europe that has been specializing in the eradication of demons on a global scale for the past 1,000 years, and that she is the one who recruited him to join the organization. She makes it seem as though Shu once remembered her, but he has no recollection of ever doing so. When he was on his way back to his apartment, he received a call from Ayano. When he picked up the phone, he was shocked to hear Ayano yelling at him to stay away from his apartment. He initially believes that she is joking, but when he hears the alarm in her voice, he drops the bag, pulls out a gun, and readies himself to fire. The door is kicked open and throws him out of the building. The blonde girl, whose name is Sharon, dashes out after him and makes an attempt to curb stomp him. He makes an attempt to reach for his gun, but she blocks his motion with her foot and then begins to attack him. He manages to avoid her first kick, but she follows it up by punching him in the stomach, before delivering another powerful kick to his body and launching him away from the fight. She then proceeds to jump on top of him and proceed to punch him in the face multiple times. While she is on top of him, Kisara sneaks up behind her all of a sudden and slashes at her with her sword, but she is able to avoid the blow and jump away from her as it comes. Kisara appears to be familiar with Sharon, and she appears to be afraid of her. Shu has been admitted to a hospital and has been unconscious ever since. Kisara and Ayano are by his side, but Kisara gets a text notification, and she wanders off, leaving Ayano to look after Shu. She goes to an abandoned building and looks at her text, which tells her the location. She then gets a call from Sharon, and she tells her that she is all alone. Kisara summons her sword and gets ready for a battle. But before she can find where Sharon is, she is shot by her from above. She runs away and seeks cover. She peeks and witnesses Sharon in a special mecha suit looking for her. Sharon shoots at her again, hitting her, but mostly she is able to block the bullets with her sword. She rushes toward Sharon and tries to attack her, but Kisara's sword is blocked by Sharon, who then uses a demonic slime-like compound emerging from the suit to attack Kisara. She backs off quickly and tries to cut through the slime coming towards her, but one of the projections stabs her in the leg. She quickly runs away and notices that her wound isn't getting healed. Sharon explains that demons like Kisara cannot be hurt by human-made weapons, but they are weak against demonic attacks. She tries to run away, but Sharon blocks her path with her demonic projections. Kisara raises her sword to attack her, but is instantly stabbed by Sharon in the torso, and she falls over. She walks over to her, but before she can finish, Shu blinds her with a flashbang grenade and drags Kisara behind a pillar, woos and kisses her, giving her the extra power she needed. He falls down unconscious, while Kisara starts flowing with power. She walks up and her wounds start healing. Sharon shoots at her, but this time she dodges every single bullet and charges at her, attacking and slashing through one of her robotic arms. Sharon tries to attack Shu, but she is able to protect her, before unleashing a barrage of aerial strikes at her, breaking her armor chip by chip. Sharon falls over, and Kisara uses that to her advantage, by thrusting her sword deep into her mecha suit, destroying it completely, and knocking her unconscious. She then takes Shu to safety, as he comes to, and they go back home together. Shu decides to go and talk to Sharon about what transpired, and to get more information about why she was in the city, but he is unable to get anything important out of her. So he moves out of the cell. He was about to leave when he received a phone call from Tetsuya. He picks it up and Tetsuya seems distressed, and he tells him to meet him in the parking lot as soon as possible. Before Shu hears Tetsuya's car getting stopped and the sound of a gunshot, he runs with Kisara to the scene and finds Tetsuya dead in his car. Shu falls to the floor in despair, as Tetsuya was one of the few people who were willing to find the perpetrator responsible for the murder of Shu's family. They suddenly spot a figure running in the parking lot, and both of them run after it. Shu recognizes the guy as being the same person who provides him with information, and assumes that he is the one who killed Tetsuya. After chasing him for a bit, they are able to capture him, and he reveals himself to be Mukhail, the son of the current mayor. Shu threatens to reveal why he killed Tetsuya, but Mikhail tells him that it wasn't him. He takes both of them to a secret facility, where they are surprised to see a lot of people working on computers that show feeds from all over the city. All the CCTVs in the area are controlled by Mikhail, and that's why he has all the information at all times. They retrieve the footage of Tetsuya's murder, but are disappointed to see the backside of a hooded figure who shot Tetsuya. The next day, Shu goes to Tetsuya's funeral, and while coming back, he is offered a lift by Miles, one of his oldest friends and his foster parent, who kept Shu for a year in his house when he was young after his parents died. While in the car with him, Shu notices a tattoo on his forearm and realizes that he is the killer. He sits there nonchalantly and asks Miles why did he kill Tetsuya. Miles tells Shu that Tetsuya discovered the truth because he realized that the only person apart from him who had first-hand information about any demon activity was Miles. This discovery, made by Tetsuya, forced Miles to take the life of his own partner. He takes Shu to a deserted park, and Shu tells him that even as they speak, he is being surrounded by the police. Miles already knows that, and he transforms into a demon. Everyone is completely shocked, and they open fire at him. Miles has an energy shield around him that is protecting him from every bullet and explosive thrown at him. Shu turns to Kisara and asks her whether there is any chance of catching him alive, but she tells him there isn't. Kisara tells him to leave any kind of sentiments behind as he killed Tetsuya, and if he is not stopped, he is going to kill many others. Miles uses his chains to attack Ayano, which injures her, but before he could kill her, Sharon arrives on a motorbike, saving her life. She jumps off the bike and uses her shoe blade to attack him multiple times, but as soon as she attacks, he is able to regenerate. He tries to punch her, but is disrupted by Ayano, giving Sharon the chance to back off. Finally, Shu comes to his senses and gives his permission to kill Miles, but asks Kisara to save his memories. He kisses her, giving her all the power needs, and she rushes towards him just in time to cut his chains in half that were going to attack Sharon and Ayano. He kicks her back, but she charges at him again, dodging his chain attacks, and finally is able to snap off his chains completely. He punches her, which she blocks with her sword, but is launched up in the air. She quickly balances herself and stabs him in the back from above. He takes out her sword and throws her away from himself. He quickly changes his target and charges towards Shu, who loads his gun and shoots him straight in the head, killing him. Kisara extracts his memory, and it is revealed that when Shu was young, Miles became good friends with his parents, but one day his daughter got very sick. He starts staying all the time in the hospital before he gets contacted by the strongest demon. Asmodeus promises that if he follows the orders, his daughter's life will be saved. Miles agrees to do whatever Asmodeus wants, and that night in the cave, he goes to find out that Asmodeus has taken the shape of Shu's mother. He spots Shu's father dying on the floor, whereas Asmodeus was carrying Kana. Before Asmodeus could kill Shu, Miles saved him, saying that it wasn't in the contract, and Asmodeus agreed. Miles starts to walk out of the cave with the unconscious Shu, and he hears an explosion in the cave behind him, flooding it completely. After that, Miles's daughter gets better, and he starts fostering Shu as his own son. Shu and the others return back to the base, where they find Sharon laying down on the couch, looking extra tasty and eating a bunch of junk food. They all sit down together and start discussing the mystery surrounding Asmodeus and why Shu's dad was killed. Sharon plays out a dumb PowerPoint presentation and shows that there has been a demon in history that keeps taking shape of different women, who all look like amazing MILFs. But apart from that, whenever he appeared, a bunch of demons were always nearby, and the entire area was destroyed. This demon only possesses beautiful young women and always leaves a shit stain behind, and that's how they know that they have been chasing this one single demon for hundreds of years. Ayano thinks that it is possible that Asmodeus appeared in this city 12 years ago, and that's when all the demons started attacking the city. Her mom objects this theory and claims that the demons appeared in the city first, and then Asmodeus appeared, trying to follow the precious core of the city, which all the demons are attracted to. She claims that all the secrets are hidden in the mine that was destroyed 12 years ago in the middle of the ocean. Ayano stands up and gets ready to investigate the entire mine for any possible clues, and she gets out of the room alongside Shu and Kisara. She reassures Shu that they will figure out the truth and find her sister Kana no matter what. But Shu seems to be a bit lost and thanks her before running away. This saddens her, and she looks angrily at Kisara. Knowing that she is the reason Shu is losing his memories, she runs outside and gets into a car, which she drives in the town to pick up her friend Linfa. She asks Ayano what the hell does she want as she is busy. When Ayano shows her some pictures of the ocean, Linfa is understandably confused. But Ayano claims that this is the general area where the mine used to be and asks for the exact location of the mine. But Linfa claims that the entire area is out of reach for any civilian. She drives it to a bridge and starts asking why the government hid all the information from the general public. And when Linfa refuses to admit anything, she becomes an American and pulls out her gun. She asks once again where the mine is exactly located, but Linfa claims that she herself doesn't know the exact location, when suddenly Ayano notices something in the distance and swerves her car just in time to dodge a missile. Completely shocked, she turns towards Linfa and asks whether she betrayed her to the government, but she looks equally scared and confused, claiming that she doesn't know anything about it. Suddenly, a blonde man with a metal arm slams into the car and tells Ayano to release Linfa at once, while the fatty and the Afro guy, sitting atop a tank, shouts at Ayano, telling her that she is completely surrounded, and they have even surrounded her mom and their headquarters on the orders of the government. Suddenly, the TV in the car comes on, and it turns out to be none other than the dipshit Mikhail, who asks Linfa whether she is okay. She gets angry at him for shooting missiles at them, but Mikhail replies that Ayano kidnapped a government official, which is an act of terrorism, so they had to be violent. Linfa knows that snitches get stitches, so she tells him that she just came out for a drive with her friend Ayano, and that she is completely fine. Mikhail, however, doesn't really give a shit, and tells Ayano to surrender, otherwise they will send her mom into MILF Manor. Ayano cannot control that much cringe, so she starts getting out of the car, when suddenly a huge chopper arrives on the scene, funded by the American government, with huge guns. Everyone is shocked at the sight, when suddenly Ayano notices that it is being piloted by none other than Shu himself. Ayano's mom comes on the TV and tells Ayano that she should quickly get into the helicopter with Shu, but Ayano argues that Shu doesn't even have half his memories. How will he pilot the chopper? Shu, however, seems to be completely fine, as he lays down suppressing fire on the tanks and the cheap copy of Winter Soldiers, scaring them away. Ayano's mom tells her that no matter how many things he forgets, he will never forget how to fight, as this is ingrained in his muscles. Ayano turns towards Linfa once again, and thankfully, Linfa immediately transfers the coordinates to the location of the mine straight to Ayano's cell phone. She thanks Linfa and flies away alongside Shu and the chopper, and they quickly move towards the mine, submerged deep within the ocean. Meanwhile, Kisara gets on a boat with Sharon, and they both start traveling towards the ocean as well. Kisara tells Sharon that she can't put Shu in any more danger, and that she will save Shu's sister herself. Sharon asks for the pen drive that has all the data, and Kisara passes it on to her, while she shows Kisara that Asmodeus seems to be a failed artist who likes making logos on the map of the world by attacking these places with a demon horde. She then shows the map of the city and shows that all the attacks till now have been creating the same design, which means that the final attack will be near the submerged mine itself. They figure out that Asmodeus possessed Shu's mother 16 years ago, after which it had Shu's sister Kana. Kisara realizes that it means Shu was born a completely human, but when Kana was born, Shu's mother was possessed by Asmodeus, which means that Kana is a half-demon herself, but props to Shu's dad for banging a demon. Sharon claims that the true goal of Asmodeus is to create a society where humans and demons can live together in harmony, but this is almost impossible. She also tells Kisara that it is highly possible that Shu's sister is still trapped beneath the ocean in the mine, where she can be used to open a gateway to call a huge demon horde into the city, which will kill millions. They finally reach the mine and enter the dark caves, walking towards the center, when they finally spot a girl tied in the middle, completely unconscious. Kisara can't believe her eyes that she finally found Shu's sister and goes to touch her, when she suddenly feels something is wrong and turns around to block a kick thrown by none other than Sharon, the hoe herself. Sharon falls back with a smile on her face, while Kisara asks, what the hell does she think she is doing? Sharon replies that Kana can't be allowed to live, as there will always be the fear that she will be used to open the portal to the demon world. Kisara tells her to back the hell up, as Kana is Shu's only remaining family, and she won't let anyone hurt her. Meanwhile, Mikhail gets to know about what Asmodeus is, and how the gate to the demon world can open in that mine. He immediately gives the green signal for a nuke just like Putin, and presses the button, which primes the satellite ready for a huge blast. Suddenly Kana's back starts glowing, Kana starts moving, and suddenly a huge hand emerges out of her back. Just when the beam of energy is released from the satellite, and it shoots towards the island, right in front of Shu and Ayano, who were approaching the area in their chopper. Shu shouts helplessly, thinking both Kana and Kisara are lost forever. But when the dust settles, they notice that the island remains undamaged. Mikhail is completely confused, and starts asking whether they bought the nukes from Chinatown. When suddenly a huge hand erupts from the ground, and reaches up into the sky, while Kisara in her demon form carries Sharon. Realizing that Asmodeus has taken control of Kana, suddenly a small hand starts coming out of the giant hand, and they start chasing her. While she tries to hold on to Sharon, Sharon suddenly tells Kisara to let her go, as she jumps down and starts kicking the shit out of any tentacle coming her way, descending down towards the core, while Kisara tries to fly towards her at full speed, cutting through the tentacles with her sword. Shu looks grimly at Ayano, and tells her to hold the controls for him, as he spots Sharon trying to fight against the tentacles, but she finally gets caught, and is slammed into the ground. Kisara looks from above with a worried look, and grabs her sword ready for a fight. Suddenly a bunch of human clones start emerging from the hand, while a copy of Kisara herself stands in front of her. While she is distracted, suddenly a hand comes out from behind her and grabs her body. While she struggles to get out, the clone walks towards her and grabs her throat, before trying to strangle her. When everything seems lost, suddenly someone shoots the clone from behind, and it turns out to be none other than Shu. The clone turns towards Shu, but without a moment's delay he shoots her to shreds, freeing Kisara from the demon. He runs towards a fallen Kisara, and hugs her, telling her that she should kiss him, so that she can get her energy back, and that he doesn't care how many memories she takes away from him. Kisara, however, starts crying, claiming that she can't do that anymore, as she is scared he will forget who he is completely. Suddenly something stabs her from behind, as blood starts dropping from her stomach. Shu is completely shocked, as he looks down to see a spear coming out of her body, and looks behind to spot a portal slowly opening, and the person grabbing the spear who stabbed Kisara turns out to be Shu's brother Kana herself. Kisara tries to take the spear out from her body, but is unable to do so, and suddenly starts having visions of a younger Shu. Suddenly, the surrounding starts glowing, and Ayano brings her chopper as close to the hand as she can, shouting at Shu to get inside. Shu looks at Kisara and tells Ayano that she can't leave her alone. Kisara tells him to save himself, but he was being stubborn and not leaving her. Suddenly, Sharon runs up from behind and grabs him by the waist and latches onto the helicopter, leaving Kisara alone. Suddenly, the entire demonic hand vanishes into thin air, while Kisara stays impaled in the air. While Kana looks at her angrily, Kisara grabs a hold of the spear once again, and a lot of memories belonging to Shu start flooding her brain once again. She finds out that Shu is a total fuckboy and has banged both Ayano as well as Sharon multiple times. This makes her really angry, and she finally gets rid of the spear from her body and turns towards Kana blind with rage. She was about to chop her cute little head off, but stops at the last moment as she remembers that Kana is Shu's sister. This gives not enough time to charge her beam, and she blasts Kisara away. She falls down into the ocean, completely unconscious, while Shu watches helplessly, dangling on the helicopter. Ayano decides to get away from the location, but suddenly Kana appears right in front of them, and starts priming her magic attack right at them. Ayano screams at her that her brother will die if she attacks them, and this seems to stop her for a moment as she looks at Shu for a moment. But before she could do anything, a huge laser completely engulfs her. It turns out that Mikhail has been observing all this, and decided to nuke the shit out of Kana. But as the dust clears, Kana appears to be still floating in the air. He gets frustrated with his Chinatown nukes and decides to nuke her once again. This time it seems to affect her, as her wings disappear, and she falls down into the ocean beside Kisara. Ayano and the others rush Kisara into a hospital where Sharon tells them that the doctors can't find a heartbeat or a brain wave in her, and even the wounds that would easily get healed in a demon like her are still open. Ayano asks whether she will ever wake up again, and Sharon claims that they can't conclude anything, as she is not a human. Ayano then asks about Kana and whether she has been recovered, but Sharon replies that according to the satellite data, she dropped into the ocean for a solid 200 meters and is laying on the ocean bed without moving. Ayano asks whether she is dead, but Sharon doubts it, claiming that Kana was alive for 12 years with a spear in her chest. This laser beam most likely has stopped her for a small amount of time, and it won't be long when she comes up again. Ayano then asks whether there is a possibility she can live like a human again, but Sharon replies that this totally depends on her, and whether anyone can bring out the remaining humanity out of her. Sharon then warns her that the church where she is from deems Kana as an S-ranked demon, and now they will send more agents like her to finish Kana off. Ayano seems to be worried, but Sharon tells her that she believes that the city would be destroyed much before any of the agents can reach this place. On the other hand, Mikhail is busy holding the city's defense, planning how to eradicate this demon, while his sister Linfa tells him that Kana is still half a human, and there is a possibility that she could be saved. Mikhail replies that the risks to try and save her are too much, and if they fail, she will destroy the entire city. So the best way to deal with this would be to completely eradicate this S-ranked demon from existence. Linfa asks whether the people in the city know about this major threat looming on them, but Mikhail replies that they have no idea. He didn't want to create a panic, so spread fake news about an underground volcano erupting in the ocean. Meanwhile, other demon hunters are busy destroying lower-class demons in the city to earn some money, as because of Kana, a lot of lower-ranked demons began emerging in the city. The demon hunters decide that they have earned enough money to relax for a good while, but one of them reminds them that there is still an S-ranked demon in the ocean. One of them claims that he can't go against an S-ranked demon, so he is just going to leave the city. But the Afro guy claims that if they don't try to defend this city, this entire place will get completely eradicated. They decide to think over it, but most of them still want to leave the area. On the other hand, Shu sits beside Kisara, holding her hand and praying to the god that Kisara gets well again. He decides that there is nothing here worth fighting for, and if Kisara wakes up, he is going to abandon this city, alongside everyone here, and run away with Kisara, never to look back again. Miraculously, Kisara ends up waking up, and tells Shu that she doesn't care about anything apart from Shu, and promises to always keep him safe. Shu immediately hugs her tightly, while Kisara tells Shu that he has fought enough, and tries to make him promise that he will run away from the city, and not fight the demons anymore. Shu smiles at her and tells her that they will both go away from here, but Kisara shakes her head, claiming that she can't leave. Shu tells her that she can take all the memories away from her, if it will make her get her strength back and heal back up. Kisara looks at him and asks whether he is truly okay with that, and Shu replies that he is. Kisara immediately embraces him for a long kiss, but instead of forgetting the memories, Shu starts gaining all of his memories back to his surprise. He tries to stop her, but she holds him down and keeps kissing him. He remembers the time before he met Kisara, when he used to work together with Ayano and was in a relationship with her. One morning he meets up with Ayano in a restaurant and breaks up with her, claiming that it isn't working out between them. Ayano asks whether he feels like this, because she is useless in the kitchen and can't make a good sandwich, and even though he tells her that it's nothing like that, she still starts crying. Shu tells her that together they are only strong enough to defeat D-ranked demons, and nothing more, so he needs to go for a journey in order to find himself. While on his journey, he came in contact with Sharon, who was also there to find and destroy a super strong demon, who was still alive but was frozen inside of a cave. They both were at each other's throat, ready to kill the other one to reach the demon, but Shu ends up striking a deal. claiming that he doesn't want anything to do with the demon, but wants the money hidden in the cave. They team up and venture inside the cave, where they find the body of Kisara with a sword impaled in her chest. While he steals Kisara away from her, back at his apartment, he creates a magic symbol on the floor and lays Kisara down before opening the book and looks at all the different ways to form a bond between a demon and a human. He finally decides to use memories as a payment for Kisara completely obeying him and forms the contract by putting her hand on his head. The contract ends up working out, but it gives him a terrible headache, making him roll on the ground. But he gets up when he hears Kisara calling him. He then brings Kisara back into the city so he could use her to kill all the other demons inside the city. After that, the entire game was different. Ayano would still use her useless guns to try and defeat the monster, while Shu will simply draw a magic circle and create another 1-hour contract with Kisara at the payment of 3 days' worth of memories. After that, he used to get unconscious, while Kisara would get summoned and destroy the demon in literally a single attack. The agency witnesses this, and finally the next day, Shu gets his solo license to work as a demon hunter in the city. She tells him that he could have simply worked with her in the agency, but he insensitively claims that humans have their limits, while demons are simply better at everything. This hurts Ayano, and because she was still jealous, she straight up asks whether he is living with Kisara in the same house. Shu admits that he is, and Ayano tells him that there will be nothing left of him if he keeps forging contracts with a demon. Shu straight up smiles and claims that he has already thought of that and has a foolproof way of getting out of the contract. Back at home, he produces a huge book from his ass and gives it to Kisara, claiming that he wants to make the ritual simpler, as making a magic circle and then forging hourly contracts is very annoying. This way they will be bound by contract till it is cancelled. Like a complete scammer, he tells her that these are the terms and conditions. She can read it if she wants, but it's all the basic stuff and nothing interesting. He then tells her that the ritual will start in 6 hours and leaves. Kisara ends up being a nerd who always reads everything and reads through all of the different terms. When she notices that one of the terms seems to be missing, she turns the pages and finally spots something written in microscopic hand writing at the very last page. She uses her demonic powers to zoom into it and finds out that he has written down that he can cancel the contract anytime he wants and doesn't need to ask Kisara beforehand. Later that evening, they get ready to perform the ritual, and Kisara goes inside of the magic circle. He tells her once again that after the ritual is complete, they will be bound together till the contract is cancelled, and tells Kisara that she can start the contract if she agrees. She tells him that she is ready as he bows down, waiting for her to touch his head, but instead of doing that, she ends up crouching down and kisses him on the lips. Shu is confused, but Kisara tells him that the contract is complete. He tells her that to finish the contract, she needs to put her hand on his head, but Kisara tells him that there was nothing like that in the contract with a smile. Shu immediately runs to get the contract and starts flipping through the pages, only to find out that she has edited his terms and written that the contract will begin with a kiss, and that every time they kiss, Kisara will be able to release all of her powers. This makes him worried that she might have messed with the cancellation terms as well. His worries turn out to be right, as he turns around to see Kisara behind him. It turns out that Kisara messed with the terms and wrote a new term, claiming that the contract will only be cancelled when she wants it to be cancelled. Finally, Shu returns back to reality and immediately grabs Kisara, asking what the hell did she just do. But it turns out that she has already cancelled the contract and has lost all of her memories as she asks Shu who he is. On the other side, Kana ends up finally awakening from her power nap and flies above the ocean before shooting a powerful beam off in the distance. This beam ends up hitting an airport, destroying a lot of airplanes, while Mikhail again tries to hide the fact from the general public that this was all done by a demon. Finally defeated, he orders the release of Ayano's mother from the jail cell, as she is the only one who could guide her troops in order to defend the city. Back at the hospital, Shu tries to remind Kisara who she is, but she doesn't even remember her own name. He finally realizes that not only has she returned his memories back to him, but she has also given him her own personal memories away. He hugs her tightly and tells her to wait here in the hospital, and to stay hidden, as this time, he will be the one to save her. He then kisses her on the forehead, grabs her sword, and moves out of the room to face her sister in battle. Meanwhile, Ayano is suited up and is waiting on the back of the ocean, ready to fight Kana when Sharon rides up to her in her motorbike. Ayano gets happy for a second, thinking she has backup, but Sharon replies that she is here to say her goodbyes as she is leaving this wretched city. On the other side, Shu orders something from Amazon, and thanks to Prime, the delivery is pretty fast. He gets in the truck and starts sorting all of his new toys out, while Kana has appeared near the city and Ayano's mom orders open fire at her. Unison directly at Kana, alongside an attack helicopter laying lead in her, which causes a huge smoke cloud, while everyone back at the headquarters watches patiently to see what's going to happen. To their surprise though, as soon as the smoke clears, Kana appears completely unharmed by making an energy ball all around her that protects her from any sort of damage. The MILF tells them to continue their attacks, as they have to make sure this demon doesn't even set a single foot inside of the city. The army starts shooting at Kana once again, but it has no effect on her, as she stays there completely calm, absorbing every single blow without any issue. Ayano decides to step in and pulls out the big guns before taking aim, and shoots a huge rocket launcher straight at Kana. This seems to finally do the trick, as when the smoke clears, the shield around Kana is gone, and she is pissed about it. She immediately looks at Ayano and starts charging up her attack, while Ayano runs away like a little girl and hides behind a tank, barely dodging the series of insanely powerful attacks that Kana threw at her. The army again starts firing at Kana, and she keeps flying past them chasing Ayano, while she tries to run away. Finally, she turns around and starts firing at her, but it doesn't affect her in the least. Unfortunately, Ayano's gun gets jammed, which forces her to face off against Kana, who starts loading up her powerful beam point blank and would have blown her to shreds. But thankfully, Shu ends up coming for the rescue and snatches her away while everything in the area gets destroyed by the laser beam. They finally descend on top of a building, while Shu tells Ayano that he got all of his memories back and that Kisara no longer remembers anything. Ayano asks what they are going to do now, and Shu simply tells her that they will have to fight with all their might and hope that they can get through to Kana, so that she can get a hold of herself. Ayano asks, how are they going to do that without Kisara, as they can't let Kana step foot in the city, otherwise innocent people will die. Shu tells her that they will lure her to this abandoned power plant, which will make sure that there are no human casualties. Ayano asks, how are they going to bring her here? But Shu tells her that they won't need to bring her here, as Kana will come here herself. Ayano is confused about why would she do that, when Sharon comes out of nowhere and claims that she will come here because she hates Ayano and any other girl that Shu has banged. According to her, Shu and Kana are connected on a spiritual level, and all the while Shu was banging other girls, Kana was forced to watch, even though she was trapped below the ocean floor. At the end of the day, she is just a little girl who is jealous of the girls in his brother's life. But the only problem is that this little girl has the power to destroy the earth if she wants. Suddenly Kana breaks through a building, trying to find Ayano, but is greeted with a missile to her face. Thanks to the military who has arrived beforehand, this really pisses Kana off, and she decides to release a bunch of demonic beasts on the enemies, forcing them to fight her minions, while she finds a way to reach Ayano and Sharon. Surprisingly enough, Shu appears in front of her, on his own hoverboard, which shocks Kana. She brings up her arm to try and blast Shu away, but is unable to do so, while Shu starts talking about how he wants to stay together with her, as she is her only remaining family. He thinks about the people he has lost, and decides that he will not let anyone die anymore, which really starts messing with Kana, as her human will starts fighting for control. Shu knows that this won't be enough, so he snaps his finger and apologizes to Kana for what he is about to do. Suddenly, a bunch of tentacles grab a hold of Kana. Meanwhile, Ayano starts shooting rocket launchers at her back, while Shu gets his sword out and rushes forward to attack her. Unfortunately, Kana is able to free herself and flies up in the air before summoning her magic spear. Shu follows her in the sky and clashes with her violently, exchanging blows back and forth. While trying not to fall off his flying hoverboard, he realizes that he can't keep up and starts flying away while Kana chases him and starts aiming his magic blast at him. But just at the last moment, Sharon uses her tentacle attack to pulverize her into a wall, while Ayano uses her rocket launcher to blast her away. Even after this, Kana shoots her magic blast at them, but Shu appears at the last moment, blocking and deflecting the attack with his sword. He immediately starts flying away, and after dodging most of the attacks, he rushes straight towards her. They engage in a vicious clash once again, but this time Kana overpowers him and pushes him away. Before she could finish him, though, she gets shot from behind by Ayano and Sharon once again. This distracts her a little bit, and Shu tries to use this opportunity to end the fight, but he is unable to attack her own sister. While she kicks him away into the ground, Kana charges at him once again, but Shu is protected at the last moment by Sharon. Kana tries to chase, but is again hit by an explosive, fired by Ayano. He uses this moment of distraction to his advantage and tries to attack again, but she deflects his attack and hits him, throwing him into a tree. She then charges at Ayano, but before she could hit her, Kisara appears, blocking her lance and pushing her back. Everyone is shocked as they witness the two demons engage in a brutal battle of attacking and blocking. Before Kana shoots her energy beams at Kisara, blasting her away, Shu picks her up and tells her to stab Kana's heart, as it will immobilize and seal her away. Kisara rushes at Kana, dodging all the attacks, while Shu provides cover fire. Kisara attacks her, but she dodges and flies up in the air, only to get kicked by Sharon and attacked by all the army troops. She falls to the ground, and in anger, she releases 3 demons from inside her body that rush towards the city. Sharon and Ayano go after the demons, while Kisara and Shu are left to deal with Kana. Shu ends up kissing her, which releases her latent powers, as she rushes towards Kana and engages in an epic aerial battle. Shu tells Kisara to bring Kana near him, and as soon as Kana is within shooting range, Shu shoots her with his anti-demon gun, resulting in her falling down. Kisara then rushes towards her, stabbing her with her sword, ending the battle. Kana is taken into custody, and she is sealed in the lowest chambers of the city. While Sharon returns to her place, Shu returns to his apartment with Kisara and is surprised to see Kana there, in her human form, eating food, which delights Shu, as his final wish of seeing his sister become normal comes true.